Hi everybody and welcome to the WM32Football podcast. This week we are talking all things on the red half of North London, the only side in North London to play on Thursday nights. And me and Connor have been joined this week by Reese as well, so we're looking forward to this one. Boys, Unai Emery, it's no longer a good evening for him, as he got sacked, as we know, last week. 18 months in to his reign at the Emirates. Obviously, Connor, we saw your 17-minute rant on him last week, but
kind of got ruined a day later. He's gone.
Yeah.
They clearly watched this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's get rid.
Stan Kroenke's there like, oh my god.
So, boys, what I want to know really is what went wrong for Emery and why wasn't he almost afforded that little bit more time with you guys?
I can take to one point that stands out quite comfortably, which is May the what was it when we played Chelsea in the middle of
the
nowhere?
27th, I
in
think.
the middle of absolutely nowhere, and a competition that Unai Emery is known for winning. My guy got patterned.
Yeah.
Patterned. It was an embarrassment. The level of fraudulence from Unai Emery for the whole 18 months was outrageous. We went on a 22-game unbeaten run, and we didn't even look good. Apart from, I can name 3 games last season where we looked good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, obviously there was the 22-game unbeaten run, and we were like, wow. But the thing is, even during that run, the underlying data, the underlying metrics, in game,
Shocking.
we were just, have shots, opponents, and. It's the whole defending. Under Wenger we were like, we can't defend. That's why we wanted a new manager essentially, and it's gotten worse.
That's the thing. When Wenger was there, we were like, we can't defend, but we can attack. We bring in Unai Emery, and the board went, we're getting him to pay homage to what Wenger done and keep it his stylistic. You couldn't get a completely different manager to Arsene Wenger than Unai Emery because he is known as a defensive manager. How can you be known as a defensive manager and not coach your defence for 18 months?
Yeah, I think that was something that almost Carragher pointed out on Monday Night Football when it was Villa Newcastle. It was the fact that, especially this season, the level of shots that Arsenal have been giving away against teams in general, really, not just some of the bigger teams, but I think Southampton had a best part of over 20 shots against 24. Arsenal, and it's like, well,
ridiculous at the Emirates as well.
Yeah,
I think the only team we've outshot this season were you mugs.
Yeah, look how that went. Still didn't beat us, and we were in a crisis. But you mentioned that 22-game unbeaten run. Obviously, highlights for me were beating Brentford and Blackpool in that run. All of you lot going on about the fact you had your Arsenal back, and everybody else going, please chill out. So for me, I'm looking at it almost is that I think Emery might have been. I'm trying to find the right word here because I don't think shafted is probably the best word, but yeah. I don't think he was left with the greatest squad of players. Going forward, yes, you've got the likes of Ozil, Lacazette, Aubameyang, but how many times have we spoken about what Arsenal need? And I think within his first season he addressed it by bringing in Torreira and Socrates. I know Socrates probably isn't the greatest defender, but he addressed the fact that you needed a centre back straight away, and you needed a holding midfielder straight away. Hence bringing in Torreira. But I think has he been a victim of the fact that he can't get rid of players at the football club?
Well, you say that he has got rid of players and he's got rid of good young players. It's like we had a very good CDM in Christian Bilic, who he let go in the summer for, I think it was under $1 million. Obviously Jeff Rennie Adelaide was before him, but you're looking at those sort of players that we've let go over a few seasons, and you look at them now going, they're possibly one of the best players in their respective positions in their league. So he had that player there and let him go. He brought in Torreira as a CDM.
And now he's playing number 10. And, we're in his last game at Frankfurt, we're losing. And, he's sat in the dugout and he's like, right, I've got to do something to save my job. I've got Pepe and Lacazette on the bench. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring on Torreira.
My guy.
So obviously you mentioned there about getting beaten by a bunch of German sausages in Frankfurt. But was it the writing on the wall from that particular game, or had it been a build-up of a few weeks, months even for Emery?
It's been since, I'd say, January this year. It's been coming. Because performances haven't been good. If Emery had a backbone and was able to tell players what to do, we would have finished third last season, comfortably. Because we were third, comfortable. But then he started to let players do what they wanted to do and not manage them. He basically did what Ollie did when he went into United, but in the wrong way. Instead of going, go out and enjoy yourselves, which Ollie did, he went, do what you like. Let a Watford have 40 shots. And then you play at home against Brighton. Should be a comfortable win, and you lose and you miss out on Champions League, which stops you getting that high calibre player. And us missing out on Champions League let you get in Ndombele and Lo Celso because it gave you that higher bracket of money. Stop smiling because you're now managed by Mourinho.
We're not talking about Tottenham today, though. We're talking about you boys.
Ndombele's going to be a centre back next year.
We're talking about you boys, but you love to keep talking about us, which is strange because we're talking about you boys today. But you mentioned there about Manchester United. Are Arsenal going to be in danger of becoming Man United in the sense of chopping and changing managers very, very quickly?
Well, I think that, we're on the managerial merry-go-round now. It's weird. I think this is the first time in all our lives that an Arsenal manager has been sacked, which is just weird. I remember thinking, this is a new sensation. But the thing is, we're not going to have another 20-year manager like Wenger, so we have to get on board with this idea that every maybe few years we'll be having to change a manager because the game is changing and things just go stale now. Like Poch at Spurs, it just got stale and it needed to happen. So it's changing in that way, I think.
Yeah, we're not going to go down the United route of big name, and then have to get someone in, because you can already tell by the way Arsenal have gone about it, going, look, Freddie, you have it for a couple of weeks, show us why you deserve it while we interview others. And we're going to go around it properly. Don't get me wrong, the people at the top of the club are stupid, and have been stupid. Since David Dean left, Arsenal have been run poorly. And David Dean left late noughties, early tens. So we're talking near on a decade he left. And it has been atrocious how the club's been run. Stan Kroenke doesn't care. And why would you when you've got the Rams and about 18 other things in America to care about? Josh Kroenke he's basically had a Christmas present in Arsenal given to him now. And the rest of them are pretty useless. Getting in there was a good idea.
Yeah.
But then
I'm not sure what he actually does. That's the thing.
And
he's just there.
he obviously brings in good players. But then you're looking at it and you're going, you had Sven Mislintat, possibly the best person at finding young players, found Torreira. It wasn't hard to find him. Found Guendouzi, to be fair, was hard to find him, and he has turned out to be one of Arsenal's better players over the last 18 months. And you turn around and go, yeah, we're not going to use you. You can go to, I think he went Bayern and stuff like that, and you're sitting there going, you had a gem of a scout and let him go. You brought in, because you look at the people Arsenal interviewed, Allegri's in there, Arteta's in there, Vieira, I can't remember I want to say Nagelsmann might have been a name that was thrown in but might not have been interviewed. And if you're looking at it, the two top names in there are, Emery and Allegri. If you can go and get Allegri, you go and get Allegri. You don't go and get Emery.
So with Unai, was it player recruitment? Was it playing style? Was it a combination of both? What was it that made you guys go, this guy needs to just get out?
Let me give you something here, and I think Reece might be able to answer this. Unai Emery's win percentage was at 55% at Arsenal. Some say not bad. I say really bad for a club that wants to be challenging for things. There's only one manager in recent history at Arsenal, that's including the whole past Wenger thing. There's one manager that has a worse record. Who is it?
Not sure. Bruce Rioch?
No.
I'm not going to say George Graham because I think he'd be up there. But yeah, no, I wouldn't know.
George Graham at 45%.
Wow. And
Well,
that was
there
the
One
famous,
manager.
That was the famous 1-0 to the Arsenal era as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
One manager.
Goodness me.
So was it that, like I say, then was
And
it?
if that is come up as wrong, that was the BBC that put that out. Don't at me. The BBC put that out.
So again, was it his style of play? That,
It was
Yeah,
very
because
negative.
I think, yeah, it was weird. He sort of changed up midway through his tenure. You know, he sort of went back and he didn't really have a philosophy. He sort of went back on himself. You know, and with the whole Ozil and Ramsey thing, he sort of tried to ostracise them. Then he called them back in, and it just showed that he sort of had no backbone. You know, if you make a decision, stand by your decision, especially at the top level.
Yeah.
And I think he definitely lost respect to the players doing that. And,
Well,
you know, by the end it was on the
from
floor.
the talk of it, as soon as he walked in, he lost respect of a lot of the players because a few journalists have come out and said what he did. So it was like Wilshere turned around and went, "You're not needed." Then try to push Ozil and Ramsey out of the club very early on. Bear in mind he came in with a little PowerPoint going on. Mate, Ramsey and Aubameyang in the centre of our team. One had a year left on his contract and one was turning 30 at the end of that year. I don't want to rant. Then then Ramsey was going to sign a contract. Took a couple of weeks to think it through. Was going to sign it. Said he was going to sign it, and Unai Emery pulled that contract. Then he tried. Then he was like, "Oh, I don't know who my captain is." Koscielny was captain. Then turned around to Koscielny, went and offered him a new contract and went, "I'm going to strip you the captaincy. You're going to have barely any playing time, and you're going to be part of the coaching staff in the new contract." Koscielny went, "No." Are you alright? I'm probably our best centre back, which at the time he was. Then he made the whole Koscielny thing a problem because Koscielny went, "Well, I want a proper contract," and then I said no. Then that whole thing happened. Yeah, Koscielny could have handled it better, but then so could have Unai Emery.
Yeah, I've actually got a Bordeaux top on underneath.
Do you not? Hopefully you don't play for the badge as well, Reece.
And then he had the whole thing with the whole Zaha thing was handled quite poorly because it was known that we wanted Zaha. I didn't want him. I think he's dross half the time. First ever time in his career he scored over 10 goals and everyone thinks he's absolutely world class player. He's not. Overpaid for Pepe massively. Then you've got the whole Xhaka situation with the captaincy. Then the actual Xhaka situation.
That is a
happens.
mess. Like, that whole
Right.
thing is a mess.
And we'll get on to that. Trust me, we'll get on to that. I've got a few choice words for that. I'll keep it PG.
Please do. That would be lovely.
Right, and then you've got how he's handled Aubameyang and Lacazette's contracts in the latest thing, which is what pushed him out the door. So it was reported by a few journalists that were close to the club that Laka and Pierre turned around and went, "We're not sure what's going on with him, so we don't want to put our names down for a contract if we're not sure." And apparently the players turned around and went, "If they're not sure, we're not sure," and they went to the board and went, "Get rid." Which for me is hard to see, like Mesut behind the corner going, "Pierre, knock on the door, tell them we don't want him, you know. We don't want him."
Like the whole squad.
Yeah, the whole squad just, well, you do it.
Yeah.
So it was more sort of things behind the scenes then with
Yeah,
Emery
that's
as opposed to.
that's what it sounds like.
And then obviously there's on the pitch.
Yeah, and then there's on the pitch, but then you,
That's a
you
whole
look
other
at it.
thing.
We've always said this season our best games have been League Cup games or Europa League games.
Where you're not really playing anyone here.
Yeah. Apart from Liverpool, which we should have absolutely battered over, but it ended up being a great game and a 5-5 draw. But those are the games apparently Freddie Ljungberg has actually taken charge in and done the training sessions for. And you sit there going, we're looking better under Freddie than we are under our actual manager. What's going on here? it's what the players hate Emery, or they have that much respect for Freddie, which I saw personally the first half against Norwich
Yeah.
was right, we work for this club, we have to because it's Freddie.
Yeah, I agree. I think let's. I hope you don't jump the gun like Man United did, though. You know,
Yeah.
if Freddie gets like loads of wins in a row, let's not just give him the job straight away. Let's bide our time here. We want to get this right. This next appointment.
This next appointment's a big one.
So you're saying Reece give it Freddie till the end of the season?
Give it Freddie to end the season.
Yeah, basically, give it Freddie. Yeah, you know, I reckon he'll do well.
He will.
But it's not the end of the world that Emery's had to go. You know, it just hasn't worked, and a lot of the times in football, managerial appointments don't work. So we just have to hope that the next one does. So that's all you can do really as an Arsenal fan. But obviously, I'm just surprised it took this long.
Yeah, because what was it? It was. Oh, I'm pretty sure after the North London derby, I was saying to you like, we cannot carry on playing like this, because literally we didn't turn up until Guendouzi turned around and went, "Are we losing to this bunch of mugs?" No, really, like not having this, and he turned up, and that's what made us like. As I said to you, there was 3 games last season where we played well. Tottenham at home, Chelsea at home, Tottenham away.
Yeah, 3 cup finals for you, lovely.
Yeah, we turned into West Ham. Every game's a cup final, boys.
So obviously you mentioned there that Reece, that it's not the biggest thing in the world that Emery's gone, but for me it's one you've hounded Wenger. Well, most of the fans have hounded Wenger out over the past sort of 4 or 5 years, and you almost get the change that you wanted, and then it's not sort of come about as you guys would have hoped. So where do Arsenal turn from here? Who is the person that you guys want in charge?
Literally, Allegri would be amazing. You know my personal feelings.
Yeah.
I want Poch.
Yeah, I'd love to have Poch.
I'd love to have Poch. It's
think
unlikely to happen.
It's a bit pie in the sky, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's got too much respect for Tottenham to do that. Unless he's felt so hurt by Levy that he wants to take revenge.
But it would just be so beautiful. We took one of their best ever centre backs, and he went on to win a double. And become an invincible. Then we take their manager, their best ever manager.
Well, you mentioned one of the greatest minds in football. Hasn't won a game at Southend since he took over.
Would be bottom if it weren't for Bolton and Berry.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You can be a good player and a bad manager. Look at like so many of the best managers. He's a god. Look at so many of the best managers in the world. I think only one of them was actually a decent footballer, and that's Pep.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Maradona.
But no, so he's, like I say, one of the greatest minds in football. Why can't he take the job? Because he keeps touting himself for jobs. I know he's in one at the minute, but it's
because he's more useless than you at 6-a-side.
Right?
I can't run. I've got no calves. He can't think. He's got no brain.
Well, you said that about Emery last week, so...
Yeah, he doesn't have a brain. He has 3 words. That's all he says. He just turns up. Good evening. Yes. That's it.
So other than, the likes of Allegri and Poch, is there, lots of talk of Brendan Rodgers coming in?
Why would he go?
Yeah.
He's got a great team at... Let's face it, and I said this to one of our mates who is a known football idiot.
Yeah.
Brendan does well with a squad that's already there. He doesn't necessarily buy well.
He just gets the best out of
He gets the best out of that squad.
players.
Didn't really buy well at Liverpool. Didn't really buy well at Celtic. The only player he's actually bought at Leicester is Tielemans.
Yeah, and that, to be fair, that's a very good signing.
But that's more
that's
the
one in
people
3
higher
clubs.
up. So recruitment wise, no. Also, would you leave Leicester right now?
I wouldn't, no, but I will say that when he was interviewed about it,
He didn't hide.
he left the door ajar, didn't he? He didn't completely write it off, and he also mentioned that he has a buyout clause in his contract. Like, why would you mention
Well,
that?
that's the thing. A lot of managers.
A lot of managers do, but
it's not really
Say
known.
it. Yeah. But yeah, no, Rodgers, I'm not sure about that. There's talk of Nuno, who I would not have.
No, it's the same with Emery, too defensive.
Well, no, I think Nuno has a dream and not a nightmare, so that's probably why we'd turn you lot down, to be fair.
The thing with Nuno is he's obviously got all these dodgy super agent friends that I wouldn't want.
Oh,
getting
the
involved.
main man that actually runs Wolves,
Yeah,
George Mendes.
yeah.
We've got to do a
Mourinho's
podcast
best
on
mate
him.
as well.
Yeah.
Imagine George Mendes running the scene. You know,
That's
running,
the thing. George Mendes, I'm just going to deviate quickly. Who was his first ever client? Do you know?
I can't remember actually. Was it
Really?
Mourinho?
Nuno Espirito Santo.
Oh, it's Nuno.
Yeah, and he's followed the George Mendes route of football. We got to do a podcast on that. I'm not going to go into it now. I've got so
Yeah.
much information.
There's
I've done.
You seem
spent
to be the
sleepless
Mendes
nights.
expert.
I can tell what you get up to in your spare time, Connor. Not much.
Yeah,
Um,
it's that or
We've got to ask you about George Mendes.
yeah, literally. So it's a no to Nuno, possibly yes to Allegri, ideally Poch, but put your brains in place for a minute.
If he comes
Greatest
in,
mind in
he'll never live
football.
it down.
Greatest mind in football is a no. I can't say his name for obvious reasons.
What, Sol Campbell?
Can't say his name. Judas. But would any of those have that quick, that bounce, almost that new manager bounce?
I think Allegri would, because of the name that he is.
Yeah, I almost feel like he's a bit too big for the club. Would the Cronkies back him financially? Because he doesn't have to prove himself. He comes in, he's like, I want money to buy
Yeah.
players, and he wants a Champions League. Are we gonna be that club to get him a Champions League at this moment in time? It's looking rather unlikely.
About 14 years ago, probably.
But is he going to manage to get a tune out of the likes of Ozil, Xhaka,
He's done it
and
with-
whatnot?
We've done it with quite a few Tim Pot players over at Juve. He made Anne-Marie Chan look good.
Yeah, Wojciech Szczesny's now one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Still can't get a game, by the way.
Yeah. I can't believe that. I can't believe what's happened to Szczesny. We could do a whole podcast on what Szczesny at Arsenal versus Szczesny anywhere else he's been in Italy. But yeah, I don't know. I think if you had to say one name, who would you want? I think I'd want Arteta.
Well, then why?
I think he's synonymous with the club. We all love him. He was obviously so close. He seemed to be nailed on before Emery came out the woodwork and got the job. I just want to know what you think about Arteta possibly managing the
It'd be
Arse.
good. Obviously, worked under Pepe Guardiola.
Yeah.
It'd be good, but it's also the same thing as the whole Freddie situation of we haven't seen him do it as a number one at a club.
Yeah.
I'd like someone who has the experience of being a number one to come in and go, this is what we're going to do, this is the vision, this is what we should be doing. Where you look at the likes of where Freddie's come in, obviously he's only had one training session before the Norwich game. The players spiked for him in the first half and it dropped off a little bit in the second half. I'd feel the same thing with Arteta because there is only so much when you don't have the experience that you can do. And you look, the only game apparently this season that he's taken charge of City, they lost.
That's a good sample size then.
Yeah. So it's one of them. I would take him if he came. And
Yeah.
I'd back him. But yet again, our fan base is one of the worst fan bases in football.
Goodness.
I hate them. I've argued with people from Arsenal Fan TV. They're stupid. The only one I like out there is Troops because he's funny. That's about it. We've had arguments with Robbie. I know you've had a conversation with him. Me and you sat down and said to him, you lot are hounding out Wenger, you're going to regret it. Bang!
Yeah.
Might as well start playing the lottery.
I still think that it was the right time for Wenger to go.
Oh yeah, it was.
It just happens to be
But-
a sort of grass isn't greener sort of situation where the next guy that came in was.
But let's face it, who's going to
not
want
very
to come into a club that's fan base, boo their manager as soon as things start going wrong,
literally
Boo their club captain, by the way.
yeah.
And we'll get onto the Xhaka situation because I know you want to talk about it as well.
He's loving it.
So I'm not going to go too far into that because there's a lot of like really horrible things that the fans did. They harassed players, and I'm not sure if you saw Callum Chambers' post, but a lot of fans were getting on the back of the Arsenal players after the Norwich game, apparently not spending any time with the mascot. So Callum put up photos going, look, you don't see what happens. Because they actually don't see what happens.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
They spent, like, he was part of the warm-up, he was in the change room before, getting photos with all the players, everyone was happy to see him, signing stuff for him. But the fans, because they didn't see it, jumped straight on the players' backs.
Well, I think that's pretty standard when you become a mascot anyway. You do go into change rooms and then you can, you do all of that kind of thing. I think it was more the fact that, the Arsenal team are walking through, the mascot's sort of there, seeing all his heroes and nobody... I know that players are in game mode,
Yeah.
and I get that, but just a little high five I think would have made the kids... I mean, if you look at Jose inviting one of the ball boys from Tottenham into the pre-match
Yeah, but
meal
you know what
before the game.
Jose's like. Jose will do that just for the fact of it's Jose and it gets media on the club that he's at and him.
For clout.
But then Jose was apparently one that Arsenal had lined up, and Daniel Levy masterclass from him, made sure that you didn't get him.
I didn't want him. It like even your mum said it. Getting Mourinho in is selling your soul to the devil. The man has disrespected both Arsenal and Tottenham so much that you get him in, you're selling out. You're fully selling out. It's like you turning up in a full Nike training kit. Adidas turn around and go, yeah, wear that and we'll pay you. And you go, yeah, we're winning. That's what it is. That is legitimately what it is.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that little one in there.
I hate
how you
him.
reacted. Go on then. Granit Xhaka, captain situation.
Oh, right. Should we go to the start? The whole
18 months ago.
the whole 5 captains vote situation.
It was the
Just
weirdest thing ever. Like,
weird.
don't get me wrong, I think you should have more than one captain at a club. Like, when Arsenal were the Arsenal,
Everyone was a leader.
everyone was. But you're looking at that Arsenal squad, the only person I see as a natural leader is Bellerin. He's the only player that you hear before a game, you see after a game, like, no matter what, he's there. He embodies what Arsenal fans want from an Arsenal captain. So for me, he was the right choice, but at the time he was injured. And he will probably get it in a couple of years or in a year's time. But the Granit Xhaka situation was handled so poorly because when have you ever gone to a club and seen that the players have voted for a captain?
Yeah.
Like, the manager hasn't got a backbone to pick a captain.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he's gone, you guys do it.
Yeah, that's
And let me
literally
know.
palming all the responsibility off of him. He's apparently been palming responsibility off of him since he walked in the door. And that was the biggest one going, go on boys, pick your mate.
Well, it's the exact opposite of Wenger, isn't it? Because Wenger had his fingers in so many pies at the club. He was like
This happened.
designing the
this.
Emirates Stadium. Then he was like, doing this, doing that, and obviously the structure's completely changed now. So obviously Emery's job was a lot more, this is what you're doing, and he was still like, go on.
You do this, you do this,
Yeah.
you do that. Like,
The vote,
what did he do?
the vote thing for the captain just absolutely baffled me so much. And obviously, clearly, Xhaka is well liked within the squad
Yeah.
because he was voted for, which is
Not
fair
well liked by
enough.
many others, to be
Well,
fair.
this is what I'm going to get on to, the fans being a disgrace, because obviously he had a decent season last year, didn't set the world alight. There's only a handful of games where you can go, he was the best player on the pitch. But his job isn't to be the best player on the pitch. But Arsenal fans go, we paid 35 million for you, you've got 80% passing on FIFA, you should be sick. That is literally our fan base. Right? They look at Aubameyang and go, he's got 87 finishing, he should score almost every shot. And I'm not sure, you might have seen it, and I know we spoke about it. Xhaka actually disabled comments on his Instagram for the amount of abuse, so he was getting death threats His wife was getting death threats.
Yeah, it was like to his family as well. Just
His kid that was only a
disgraceful.
couple of days old was getting death threats. Just because he had a couple of bad games. Like, if someone walked in to a job, say like some of the Arsenal fans at their daily job, were then starting to get abuse where people were like, your family should die, this, that, they'd be sitting there going, what is going on? Like, who do I go to? What do I do?
yeah. Imagine you're working at checkouts at Tesco and you're
Yeah.
scanning really slow, and then someone's giving you death threats. For it.
Yeah.
That's essentially the same thing.
And he was getting so much abuse, and then it come to boiling point against Palace, which he didn't have a bad game. He was probably one of the better midfielders on the pitch that day. Guendouzi went hiding. Traore was hiding when he came on. Ozil was hiding. Ceballos didn't do anything. Aubameyang didn't do anything as a forward. Like, genuinely, our players did nothing that game. But because he was hounded so much and he hadn't responded, hadn't done anything, you saw the explosion when there was... And
Built up.
it just built up. But we've seen it before. Like, you go all the way back to 2011 when the fans jeered off Abue.
Oh, that was.
And
horrible.
then
Yeah, he'd been subbed on that day. And
Subbed
then got
on and
subbed off.
subbed off.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And he cried. But then midweek, he scores a penalty and everyone loves him.
So fickle.
Yeah, that's our fan base. And then you get the hot, like they're jeering him, so he's obviously annoyed, doesn't feel that he's played well, getting stick, gives it back. And on a away day, you give it back, it's fine. But at home, there's 60,000 fans at you.
You sure?
That day there was. Frankfurt, there was 20,000. And there's 60,000 fans sort of giving you stick. And he shouldn't have reacted. But then, yet again, if you sit in his position, you go, to be fair, I would have reacted.
I definitely would have reacted.
But I wouldn't have reacted the way he reacted. Throwing the captain's
No.
armband on the floor,
Storming off down the
storming off, ignoring Emery, ripping your shirt off, and he apparently left straight away, which, to be fair, I would have left straight away, but the way he went about things didn't help it. Then obviously changed all of his social media pictures, got rid of Arsenal out of everything. There was never an apology.
No, he put up that
put up a
post like
statement.
on like like a screenshot of his notes on his phone. You know them sort of posts.
Yeah, yeah.
And it
I hate
was
those
like
posts.
yeah,
That's like a Rebecca Varney's account.
it was it was an apology without an apology.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, the fans should have apologised to him, but as a club captain and as a leader, he should have apologised for his actions. I'm not saying apologise for the fact you had a bad game. Apologise for throwing the armband on the floor, disrespecting your role at the club, ignoring your manager, that's disrespectful to your manager, and then ripping your shirt off, which is disrespectful to the club. When you got given the captaincy, you said it was an honour to be given the captaincy. It's such a great club.
And then he's chucking the armband, his shirt off. Yeah, it's been a great. The decade ends in 3 weeks. It's been a great decade for Arsenal captains, hasn't it? Like, goodness
Yeah,
me.
so is the captaincy cursed then at Arsenal?
Don't, because they've just given it to Aubameyang.
Yeah, we just need to pick the right one. I think.
Give it Hector.
Yeah, giving it to Aubameyang for now. I can see why. He's a senior player.
Yeah.
Players look up to him. He's one of our best players.
But going back onto the Granit Xhaka situation, the players went round his house afterwards. Apparently he was distraught. Arsenal, as a club, handled themselves poorly with it. So they could have turned around and gone, because even Unai Emery was ducking the question all the time. They're like Deontay Wilder when it comes to the AJ fight, always ducking that question. Like, constantly, no, I've got another fight coming up, and then going, actually, this is what's going to happen, and then still ducking out of it.
Mm.
So like, he's not going to play for a few weeks. He's going to train on his own, basically. He's going to get counselling. He's going to do this, going to do that, and then, oh, none of that happened.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what it was. And then the club handled it poorly. Unai Emery handled it very poorly.
That's something else that Emery went back on. He went and played Xhaka in
Yeah.
his last game against Frankfurt.
But
and then Xhaka's like, cuddling and having a laugh with the Frankfurt players after we've just lost.
yeah, but to be fair, the fans gave Xhaka quite a good reception.
Well, there was no one there to witness it anyway, so
Exactly.
probably fine.
But the fans handled themselves poorly. Xhaka handled himself poorly. They're both as bad as each other. Well, Arsenal fans are worse.
And the
But
manager
their actions on the night were as bad as each other.
and the manager did nothing to sort of squash it or draw a line under it. He was just like, "Oh, we're gonna leave him out for a bit," and it just lets the whole thing fester.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if he played him on Saturday, or if we had a Europa League game coming up, I can't remember.
Yeah, we did.
If he played him, Thursday night would have been probably a good time to play him in the Europa League, where it's our
Because
nice
that was,
little.
that was an away game. It was against Victoria in Portugal.
There you go.
Victoria's Secrets, yeah.
I think just get him back in and then just squash it, and the Europa League's our nice little escape from our awful domestic season. I say
it's
that
not getting,
we lost.
it's not getting much
But,
better. We've had a draw and a loss.
Yeah, but on the whole, it has been. So I think if you just played him again,
There wouldn't have been a problem.
yeah, but just let it fester. I think there's just a lot of Emery just not really confronting situations head on, isn't there?
Extreme levels of fraudulence. I said it last week. I'll say it again this week.
He changed the whole playing style. He was like, we want to be protagonists and all the rest of it, and then he's out here playing free at the back against Southampton, worrying about what they're going to do. When we're at home, they should be worrying about what we're going to do. Why are we worrying about Southampton, who at the time were 19th?
With Nicolas Pepe, record signing, ended up at right wing back, by the way, in that particular game. And when I heard that, I was just like, no, he's surely not. Like,
Yeah,
that
that's
can't
because
happen.
Hector went off injured though, so it's alright.
We didn't sign Pepe to play right wing back. Oh.
So then, boys, what are your hopes now, going in for the rest of the season, and what are you expecting?
I've written off this season. I've written it off.
I think, it's sort of, I was going to bring this up actually. Can you write off a season in December? We've still got the FA Cup.
I've written it off, mate. I've written it off.
Oh.
Like, the best we can hope for is them to get worse, us to finish fourth, and maybe a good cup run.
Yeah.
The only way we get in Champions League is winning the Europa League, or everyone else to become poor.
Yeah, I think we can definitely win the Europa League. We've always done well in it whilst we've been in it.
We had the best manager to win the Europa League. The man won 3 on the bounce and still lost the final.
Yeah.
4-1.
I rage quit that final.
I think the players did as well. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So you're hoping top 4?
Yeah.
That's
That's pie in the sky. I think I just want to see better football first and foremost. Exciting, Wenger ball-esque. We haven't.
I've got an idea. Freddie gets the boys in, shows them really wants the 49 unbeaten run, and just go, be like that.
Do that.
Do that.
Yeah, I'd just like to see better football, a bit more positivity, and then sign a good defender in January. I doubt that's going to happen.
This
though.
is the thing. I was speaking to, again, our idiot friend, about it, and I went, Arsenal targeted 3 centre-backs this summer. It was Luiz, Saliba, apparently Alessio Romagnoli from AC Milan. 25 years old, left-footed, Italian, very good at the back, very good on the ball. Got Luiz for what, about 8 million?
8 million, yep.
Saliba for 30. Apparently it would have only cost 45 to get Romagnoli out. So if Allegri comes in, he knows we need a centre-back. He's going to go and get him.
Yeah, that is.
But then could you afford to be almost patient with that, because Saliba's out on loan at St Etienne, so you're going to get him back eventually.
But could you imagine a back two of Romagnoli and Saliba?
Well, no, can't. Both left-footed, so it'd be a massive imbalance.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure Saliba's right-footed.
Pretty sure he's left.
Pretty sure he's right because I have him on FIFA.
Pretty sure he's left-footed because he was touted by Tottenham as a replacement for Vertonghen. And that's why you overpaid for William Saliba.
As long as he doesn't go to you, like, it's fine.
I will say, yeah, but the defence has been bad. Let's not.
You can see the 30 shots to Watford.
Yeah.
What do you mean bad?
But the thing is, when you watch Arsenal, we lose the ball, and then suddenly someone's bearing down on our defence, and it's, you know, you could have the best defenders in the world. It's really hard to defend when, you know, you got three players running straight at the defence. We need a screen, and we thought Torreira was going to be that screen, but Emery was like, you're number 10. So that's another thing I'd say. Get Torreira back in his natural position, because he is unhappy at the moment. He said he's unhappy.
Well, when he played against Norwich the other day, the first half, he was class at CDM. But then you look at it, in Wenger's whole time there, we spoke about it, I brought it up last week on the podcast, it was our minimum shots for and against were plus 70 in a season.
Like shot difference.
Shot difference. Last year, it was minus, I want to say 50 something. And this season it's already at minus 80.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We
never had a negative shot difference under Wenger.
Yeah.
Over a season, and you know, this is just awful. Like the Watford and Southampton ones.
Under Wenger, we averaged plus 110 shots a season.
Of course, because we should
80.
be. That's
the first week of December.
That's because we were dominating games.
1 week in December. I've only just got the advent calendar out.
I'm just saying, at least we finally got a good goalkeeper. Let's focus on the positive.
Imagine if we had Fabianski when he was poor.
Yeah, or like Almunia. We'd be getting banged by Southampton and Watford. You know,
to be fair, that save
from McLean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was class.
Outrageous.
But, you know, let's focus on the positives. We got an alright core. Maybe. Not. We got Leno. Let's start there.
We got Leno.
We got Bellerin.
Tierney, Torreira, Guendouzi, Aubameyang.
And then you say that, I mean, Freddie and I did laugh quite hard when I saw this, because 3 of your back 4 against Norwich was Mustafi, David Luiz and Kolasinac. And I think if you go into majority of games with 3 of your back 4 is those 3, someone's going to have a
that's
field
the
day.
thing.
Yeah.
Rob Holding's still carrying an injury. Tierney can't play 2 games in a week because he's still coming back. Callum Chambers played right back because Bellerin was injured. So if you have those 3 back, you're looking at a defence of Bellerin on the right. I'd say Chambers and Holding have been our best 2 centre-backs this season.
Yeah.
And Tierney at left-back. You're looking at that going, it's a decent defence.
Yeah, I don't know what's
But when
happened to Socrates, you know, because I was loving him last season.
He's 32.
Yeah.
That's what's happened to him.
He's fallen off a cliff, isn't he? And then, yeah.
That's going to happen to us one day. We're going to hit that age and it's just going to go all downhill. So I've started low. I'm keeping it low. The drop off isn't as big.
Did you hear what Dele Alli said the other week? I'm 23 now. This things I can't do anymore. That sounds like
my
me
body
trying
doesn't work as well as it used to. Big man, you're 23.
That sounds like
What
me
do you
trying
mean?
to deal with a hangover.
Mate, I went iron apple in the summer, I'm dead.
Right then, boys, so as we've mentioned, you're hoping for what, top 6, top 4 finish this season?
Top 6 has got
Top 6, got to be. You've got to get the Europa, because, you know, we've been like, can't have another season Europa League. We might not even get that at the moment. So let's just get that nailed on, and then anything else is a bonus, really.
So looking to win the Europa League and then FA Cup?
I wouldn't say no, you know, some of the best.
We've got Leeds in that 3rd round, so...
That's a bit scary, you know. Marcelo Bielsa, at Leeds top of the Championship, they're flying.
It's Leeds.
Yeah, they can't.
That's all I'm going to say is Leeds.
They can't play Eddie though, so
Yeah.
you know.
I was saying that to our mate Anthony, who plays in golf for us on 6 side, because he's a Leeds fan. He was like, Eddie will play against you. No, he won't.
I remember
No, he won't.
we played them a few years ago. Like
And we
quite a few years ago, we let Sanchez Watt play, and he was
Yeah.
on loan there, and he like tore it up. I mean,
Tore it up, and
why
then
did we let him play?
and it came to the 2nd leg, and I'm pretty sure Wenger just went, not 2nd leg, replay even, and Wenger just went, Sanya, kick him. Just kick him.
Right then, I think that concludes us for today, gentlemen. I hope everybody enjoyed talking about everything on the wrong side of North London, as I like to say. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel as well.
North London